Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh by Shem Al-Shai by Shem Kakodah. Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of you elect out there. Shalom to you all. I'm going to entitle this video Revelation chapter 18, the closing credits to Babylon the Great. Anytime I deal with this is one of my favorite prophecies. Once you hear it, you remember it. It sticks to you once you hear it. It's a very simple breakdown. So anyway, once you see the video, if you don't know it, you should know it. You watch it again, you'll remember it. But I'm gonna have you hear it in the NLT, and I'll stop if the Spirit's on me. Now, when you read it with understanding, Revelation chapter 18, the King James Version, there's certain words you pull out and certain passages or even verses or lines that you pull out, which let you know that this is definitely talking about, Babylon the Great, the U.S. You have a lot of these people that claim to know the prophetic part of the scriptures. They'll say, "Oh, that's talking about Vatican City." It's definitely not talking about Vatican City. Very few would say it's talking about the U.S. You have some born-againers, Edomites, that look like Edomites, portray themselves as, so-called white people. Some of them could be Jake. You have a handful of them that wrote books or do commentary. And they'll come out and say this is definitely, the U.S. or America. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it play, and I may just let it play, then kind of say a few words on it, or I may stop it at particular verses. But let's see where the Spirit takes me. So this is Revelation chapter 18, verse 1.
Chapter 18. After all this I saw another angel come down from heaven with great authority, and the earth grew bright with his splendor. He gave a mighty shout.
Babylon is fallen, that great city is fallen. She has become the hideout of demons and evil spirits, a nest for filthy buzzards, and a den for dreadful beasts. For all the nations have drunk the wine of her passionate immorality. The rulers of the world have committed adultery with her, and merchants throughout the world have grown rich as a result of her luxury.
Yeah, the Chinese, okay, it says here in second verse, Revelation 18, the angel gave a mighty shout, Babylon is fallen. Now, if you go to, Isaiah 21, I believe it is. I'm not going to go to it, but it's in the book of Isaiah, and I believe it's 21 and 4, something like that, but which I'll probably go to it at the end of this, because I don't want this thing to disappear. I got to go look for it, which is not no big deal, but I don't want to be all over the place. It said Babylon is fallen. So in Isaiah, the Spirit comes to Isaiah and says Babylon is fallen, it's fallen. That great city, Vatican City is not that great city. Vatican City is 2 miles square. In other words, you can run, if you run the whole, that whole 2 miles square, that's 8 miles. So if you're a runner, that can take you, let's say you do a 10-minute mile, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Take you a little bit less than an hour and a half to run around the square of Vatican City. So it's definitely not talking about Vatican City. And these merchants from around the world did not become rich because of the things that Vatican City purchased from them. It's clearly talking about the U.S., America. And preachers will not say that because they're not going to, they live here. That's the last thing that they want to say. This is Babylon is fallen, that great city, which is actual city. A city is as big as its citizens. Is fallen. She has become a home of demons. Now back when I was at this main school, High Priest Ariel was the first one to break this down to me on a Saturday class. He was the one that went into all the prophetic breakdowns. And we used to go through this over and over and over and over again. The reason being is so you don't have to take notes. You can just remember it. You know, it comes to mind. You know, what do you call that? What is that called? There's a term for that. Give me a second. I just got to take this phone off. Give me a second. I'm having it charged. Give me a second. Like you have a thing called muscle memory. There's a thing that I don't know if it's an actual term, but I'll call it mental memory or spiritual memory. You know how young brothers that come into this truth, they're in there for a couple of years and they memorize those scriptures. When you get older, you don't remember though. You don't recall the scriptures like you did when you was younger. You know? So sometimes, and I'm not ashamed to say, what's that scripture where it says so-and-so and such and such? I said, I know it's in Micah 7 or whatever, but I forget the verse. You kind of know it, so your memory's kind of coming back. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, High Priest Ariah, forgive me for the rant, High Priest Ariah did it over and over again so you can develop your mental memory, your spiritual memory. So everything, you don't gotta, let me check my notes, right? Anyway, this is how he broke it down. He said that's talking about when Esau came and took Gad and Reuben down. Because it says demons, right? Foul spirits. These are these devils. Now, if you read it, it's a little different in the King James, but this is what he said. He said it's talking about Esau coming over, Christopher Columbus and Esau coming over and taking Gad out there. That's what it's talking about. That's when it became a habitation of devils. That's in the King James Version. And at that time, I went with it because he broke it down. But as I studied and learned, I was like a person of a member of the Church of Berea. And I studied and went through it, and I came to the conclusion. I said, nah, that doesn't make sense. I said, that's got to be talking about, that has to go hand in hand with, Isaiah chapter 34 and Isaiah chapter 13. It basically speaks about the desert and the desert-like creatures. So what the angels saw after Babylon went down, after the missiles hit, after the smoke cleared, the Spirit came to John and showed him the vision of a vast desert. That's going to be the biggest desert on the planet Earth. We're talking about a 5,000 square mile desert. And that's what he saw. And he might have saw a vulture. He might have saw he definitely saw desert creatures that can live on the desert. They might go there and then they'll go to another place, maybe an island. But they'll come to that desert to see what's going on, right? So that's what John saw. He saw Babylon the Great after the smoke cleared, after the fire subsided, and after the smoke cleared. And it tells you, it uses the number 7, right? 7 means completion. The fire is going to burn, and the smoke, you're going to see the billowing from the smoke until it stops. I use this example. I believe it was about 2 weeks after 9/11 that we went down there. We drove down Broadway. If you drive down Broadway, when you get to where the buildings are, that what's that goddamn street? There's a church there. There's an old church with a small cemetery in the back of the church, and you can actually see one of the buildings. I believe that had, I don't know if that was building 1. Now in the pictures, if you see the World Trade Center, it looked like a metal kind of bent, like it exploded from the inside out, and it kind of, it's kind of like a blossoming metal. That's exactly what we saw. Those famous pictures. That's exactly what we saw. And we saw them. It was two weeks later, and the smoke was still bellowing. I don't remember when it actually stopped, but it was I don't know, 7 months, a year. I don't know, but I know one thing: if we went down there to buy something to eat, we wasn't going down there for a while. So it said we used to go to this Turkish spot where they had this good food, man. You know, you just take that drive down there to get that food. Matter of fact, when the elders from Dallas came by, we had took them down there. We were at my crib chilling, and I said I'm in the mood to get some shawarma, okay? And maybe they didn't know what it meant. I don't know. But we went down there, we did that long ass drive, and then we came back and we ate, you know? So the last time we've been down there, I don't know, 15 years? I don't know. 13 years? I don't remember. But it's been a while. So it says, he gave a mighty shout, Babylon is fallen, that great city is fallen. She has become a home for demons. She is a hideout for every foul spirit, a hideout for every foul vulture, and every foul and dreadful animal, desert type creatures. You go to any desert on the planet, you're gonna have creatures on the desert. You hit the birds, they'll fly by, see if there's any dead carcasses, then they fly to an island. But no man will be able to step on. That would be the forbidden zone in the movie. The original Planet of the Apes was called the Forbidden Zone. And in the movie, I think it was Dr. Zier says, if you go there, you may not like what you find. And he didn't listen. And he saw the Statue of Liberty about to her neck, her arm was up. And he said, you goddamn dirty apes, you did it, you did it. He bugged out. Because he realized he didn't go to another planet, that he came back to America and the apes took over. Now they call us apes. So what are they telling you in that movie? They're telling you in the movie that we're going to get the next kingdom and we're going to put your ass in captivity. And he had to find out the truth. It says, third verse, for all the nations have fallen. All the nations did not fall, but they fell as far as rulership is concerned. Whatever rulership that they had in their particular nations, they lost all of that. This goes hand in hand with Daniel chapter 7, verse 9 on down, where it speaks about the rest of the beasts, because the rest of the beasts are still here, but they're going to go into captivity because of the wine of her passionate immorality, because that fornication in Revelation chapter 17 verse 4. You can read that. I'm not going to read it because I'm going to make this longer than what it is. So they accepted, democracy. They accepted passing laws to protect happy people. And then some of them, like certain African nations, I said this before about Kamala Harris going to Africa with a checkbook, talking about giving I think it was Uganda, because they were saying, look, you lock up a happy person or you put them to death. A lot of them African countries do. Some of them openly accepted. A lot of them where Jake is, because that's that spirit. Romans chapter 2. That's that spirit that's in them. They know in their spirit it's not right to be one of them type of people, a happy person. So this demon went over there with a paycheck, a checkbook, and they were like, stick your paycheck where the sun don't shine. So that's the immorality of this place, and they push it here. This place is an immoral place, man. Do you know how much adultery goes on in this place? Because there's no punishment, there's no teeth on the law of adultery. You can just, like if a man finds his wife with another man and he goes crazy and he kills both of them, he's going to get locked up for it. Where he should be let go because he caught them in an act of adultery. So that shows you that this society is fucked up. It's so fucked to the point where, look who you got as president. Now, the president supposed to be, when they would say he's the president of the United States, which means he's the leader of the free world, meaning he's like the president of the world. That's how they used to say it. They don't say that no more. Now, the leader of the free world is in that position because he's considered the smartest man on the planet Earth. Now, how many of you believe that Donald Trump is the smartest man on the planet Earth? How many of you believe that Biden was one of the smartest men on the planet? This is the smartest man. In order for you to be a president, you got to be a smart guy. You got to be super smart. As a matter of fact, you got to be the smartest man on the planet Earth. So come on, y'all. This motherfucker's done. Stick a fork in this bitch, it's done. Right? It said the kings of the world, the other leaders of the other nations, have committed adultery. What's the adultery? They made deals. They accepted democracy. They passed laws to protect Mos, just to name a few. They sold out their people. Because of her, they have committed, the kings of the world, have committed adultery with her because of her desires for extravagant luxury. So they live that way. The premier of whatever country, they live like kings. And then every once in a while, you have the people that would call for a revolution, and they would take that person down. Then to come to find out that this guy was nothing but a puppet for the main king or the queen. And what they usually do is, when they occupy a country and they take it down, what they do, they'll get one of the people of that nation, and they'll basically he's a puppet. He's a puppet leader. And see, people are beginning to wake up. The last people to wake up to anything are people of America. They're stupid people, you know? And you can thank your public school system. The merchants of the world have grown rich. What's the number one nation that was considered peasants and farmers, and now they're super rich, multi-billionaires? There's many. You can go to the chart, go to Google, a list of billionaires in the world, and they'll tell you how many billionaires in the United States, how many billionaires in France, how many billionaires in Africa, whatever. Then they'll say how many billion years, billion dollars, how many billionaires are there in China? And that number is going to be equivalent to the number of America, Russia, maybe even more. Because billionaires are created every day in China. You know what I mean by that? But they create more billionaires than pretty much any other country, and they competed with other European countries and surpassed them in some cases. How did they do that? Through merchandise. That's why the word is merchant, right? I'm gonna look the word up, merchant. Now, the word merchant, you got the word mercantile, which has something to do with Wall Street and stocks. But I tried it at one time. If you go to Etemon, at one time, if I'm not mistaken, mercantile goes back to the word merchandise. But the root goes back to selling, but you can't link it up. Sometimes you go to Google, you don't get, it's either hit or miss. Sometimes you go to Etemon, it's either hit or miss. It says the merchants of the world, the other nations, have grown rich. So this was a stupid move that Trump did when he said I'm gonna bring a. Now they're talking about 145% against Chinese goods, but he said 3 weeks ago, a month ago, he said he went up to 245. Now they're not talking about that no more. He originally said 245%, which is crazy. I use an example of a Chinese-made EV for $20,000. When it got to America, that thing is what? 24 $70,000. And then you got to pay taxes on that. So you're talking about $80,000 to get a $20,000 car from China. Who's going to buy that? But it backfired because he figured that China was going to come to the table. China said, no, we ain't coming to no goddamn table. So guess what? He's the one that has to come to their table. So and they see his weakness now. They said, this guy's a paper tiger. You know? This guy's a fake bully. So they've grown rich. And I did a video last night on, I typed in how many missiles does China possess, ICBM missiles. And I believe it was 400. And 400 could do the job because you got multiple warheads on each missile. It says, then I heard another voice calling from heaven, come away from her, my people. Do not take part in her sins, or you will be punished with her. That's not talk. Now, another thing that the 7 used to teach, we got to get out of here. We got to make sure you get your passports because we got to flee out of here before the missiles hit this place. So the Spirit got on Yeshaya and Gazak. I don't know who got on first, but they were close to each other. So they presented it to the school. And this is right when I was coming in. This was in the mid 80s. And the heads over them, they couldn't see it. Because they kept saying, you got to get your passport. And then we're going to fly down to South America. But that doesn't make no sense. There's no scriptures on it. Because how is the Lord going to deliver us unless the Lord's going to fly them planes? So eventually they saw it, you know? Okay, now the sins, now you can bring it down to one sin. The ultimate sin that you're going to commit is getting that chip, which is a sin. It's not sin, it's a sin. Okay, so now let's go back. So I broke these two down. Let's go.
Luxurious living.
Then I heard another voice calling from heaven.
Come away from her, my people. Do not take...
Come away from her, my people. It's not talking about the Bible. It's not talking about the believers, the Christian believers, no matter what nation you are. No, the people here is referring to Israelites, starting with the elect. Because not all, the majority of our people here in America is going to be destroyed. You got Nate going around the world. The Most High don't want you to go to Kenya and to France and to these other places, because they don't have to worry about being delivered. Salvation only applies to the ones that's in America or in the land of Israel, and you shouldn't be in Israel. So let's go on.
Part in her sins, or you will be punished with her. For her sins are piled as high as heaven, and God is ready to judge her for her evil.
Her sins are piled as high as heaven. He's out there in space. She's out there in space. Amos 9:2.
Deeds. Do to her as she has done to your people.
They treated us like crap. Put us in hardcore slavery. If you didn't work hard enough, you got whipped, you got lynched. They took our women. And these clowns out, these Israelite clowns, we ain't gonna get no Edomite. They got our women, we gonna get their fucking women, all right?
Give her a double penalty for all her evil deeds. She bruised.
So the hell that we caught, they're gonna catch double the hell that we caught. They're gonna be on the plantations working, they're gonna get fucked up double.
A cup of terror for others. So give her twice as much as she gave out. She has lived in luxury and pleasure.
And that's talking about the super elite. The rest of these Edomites in this country, in Babylon, they're just going to be destroyed. They're going to catch on fire and they're going to die, but they're going to come back as newborn babies and they're going to be born right into captivity. But the ones that's going to go from living as luxurious lives to rags are the super elite. The super elite families of the earth, they're going to be the first motherfuckers to go into captivity.
So match it now with torments and sorrows. She boasts, I am queen on my throne. I am no helpless widow. I will not experience sorrow. Therefore the sorrows of death and mourning and famine will overtake her in a single day. She will be utterly consumed by fire, for the Lord God who judges...
Now these scholars that read that, they don't know what the fire is. We know what the fire is.
her is mighty. And the rulers of the world who took part in her immoral acts and enjoyed her great luxury will mourn for her as they see the smoke rising from her charm.
Some of them are going to mourn because they were getting payoffs. They were living luxurious lives in order to push your policies. But others are going to be happy.
Art remains. They will stand at a distance, terrified by her great torment. They will cry out.
Her great torment is not hell. Her great torment is that fire.
How terrible for Babylon, that great city. In one single moment, God's judgment came on her.
Ain't nobody going to be gathering around, oh, Vatican City, that great. No, Vatican City ain't all that goddamn great. Okay? Talking about Babylon the Great.
The merchants of the world will weep and mourn for her, for there is no one left to buy their goods.
They're going to weep and mourn because they ain't making no more money. China didn't want to lose a deal with America because they know how fast American people or consumers buy. That's why they set up gave poor people credit cards. Because motherfuckers will spend their money and they'll give them free money. Now they're doing it at supermarkets. You know you can get your groceries, but you don't got to pay now, pay later. That means this motherfucker's going, this place is doing bad, man. Now they're talking about empty shelves and prices going up. If you can find a price, if you can find the item is going to go up. If you got the money, you might not get what you want, even though you got the money. So that developed. That's what comes to play as a black market.
Bought great quantities of gold, silver, jewels, pearls, fine linen, purple dye, silk, scarlet cloth,
and all the modern things that you get too. The flat screens, the cars, anything that you get. You go to like a BJ's, to like a Costco's, to a Walmart, to a Target. You get all these things, and they're all made in China. Some things are made in China, shipped to Mexico, and assembled in Mexico. You go to a car dealership, and I know this for a fact. I want an original dealer's part. Guess what? That bitch is made in China. Sometimes it's made in China and assembled in Mexico. So guess what? Your car parts are going to go up because of the tariff. And see, Trump didn't think this thing out because a lot of American businesses are going to go out of business because when they create things, clothing, shoes, they make the model and they ship it over there to China, to a factory, and Chinese mass produce it. They don't mass produce shit over here. I was watching this on the news earlier of this woman that had a boutique, large size boutique in New York, and she said that I'm going to go out of business. She had maybe she had maybe 20 sewers that put the garments together, but they make those garments to ship to China so China can mass produce them and make thousands of those garments. And I believe she's like a distributor as well. So this thing that this decision that he made is backfiring on this guy, which lead me to believe that there was people behind him telling him what to do because they should have told him, look, that's not a good move economically. You can't just say I'm an economist. There's things that you do, and people go to school for years to become economists, to become business people. You don't just one day get up, oh, I'm an economist. I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, terrorists fuck a system up because if China, something comes from China, whatever tariff that the president slaps on any of the goods, who's going to pay for it? When you get it, you got to pay extra money. That's what they've been saying. Watch the financial shows. Watch the Bloombergs. Watch the CNBCs. Watch the Yahoo Finance. And that's on YouTube. And you can even watch it live. And they're all saying the same thing. Prices are going up.
Kind of perfumed wood, ivory goods, objects made.
This luxurious stuff that y'all get, you got to get it from China and from other parts of the world. Finding out that these Louis Vuitton, the Gucci bags, the top of the line stuff, and it says made in Italy or made in France. They ain't made in France. They're assembled and made in China, but they'll ship them to Italy and they'll put their logo on it, and then they'll say, "Oh yeah, we made this bag in Italy," so that's why people buy it. So you got Chinese manufacturers saying, if you want, you can buy directly to us. They said you don't even need a visa. Hop on a plane, come to China, and you can get what you want to get. But see, you know who gets it? Women, because they're stupid, man. You want to impress a woman, get a $40,000 bag, which maybe costs maybe $1,000. Women are fucking stupid, man.
Of expensive wood, bronze, iron, and marble. She also bought cinnamon.
Marble, you got to get out of the, like if you want to get a marble table, it's got to be created in China or another country.
Spice, incense, myrrh, frankincense, wine, olive oil, fine flour, wheat, cattle, sheep, horses, chariots, and slaves. Yes, she even traded in human lives.
And we're a part of that. We're a part of that fulfillment, that we were traded. So you think they're not going to be traded? You think they're not going to be slaves?
All the fancy things you love so much are gone, they cry. The luxuries and splendor that you prize so much will never be yours again. They are gone forever. The merchants who became wealthy by selling her these things will stand at a distance, terrified by her great torment. They will weep and cry, "How terrible for that great city! She was so beautiful, like a woman clothed in finest purple and scarlet linens, decked out with gold and precious stones and pearls."
Yep, that's going to be the big talk. That's going to be breaking news around the world. Now, I remember when the 9/11 happened, it was literally breaking news around the whole planet Earth. Breaking news around the whole planet Earth. And back there, you didn't have the web, you didn't have YouTube, you didn't have, hey, you have so many news channels out there, you can't even keep up with them. Legitimate news channels. Then you got alternative news channels. You got us. So if we're in any age, we're in the age of information. And Esau, I mean, the elite, which they're Edomites, this YouTube thing, this world WWW thing, it's the Wild Wild West. I said in another video earlier today, I looked it up. I think there was 260 some odd million sites. They said, well, we can't even keep up with all the sites that's being set up. There's people putting up sites right now. So there's no way you can have that many people. You need a 20 million people to watch every video. Because a lot of times they'll cut a video that you did 3 years ago because somebody finally got around to getting it. So this is the Wild Wild West.
And in one single moment all the wealth of the city is gone. All the ship owners and captains of the merchants' ships and their crews will stand at a distance. They will weep as they watch the smoke ascend.
Talking about cargo ships. It's talking about cargo ships. Excuse me. I slipped when I said ship. When those things stop, the Panama Canal, if that's blocked, ain't no ships coming in. Suez Canal, if that's blocked, and that was in the news some years ago, ain't no ships coming in. Everybody suffers around the world.
And they will say, "Where in all the world is there another city like this? and they will throw dust on their heads to show their great sorrow, and they will say...
That doesn't mean they're going to throw dust on their head, but that's what they did in the ancient world. When they would mourn, they would throw dust on their head. And you had the prophet Nehemiah. He tore his garment and he pulled his hairs out of his beard because he was so upset.
How terrible for the great city! She made us all rich from her great wealth, and now in a single hour it is all gone. But you, O heaven, rejoice over her fate, and you also rejoice, O holy people of God and apostles and prophets, for at last God has judged her on your behalf.
It said apostles and prophets. Did it say bishops? Did it say deacons? Did it say generals? Did it say captains? Did it say high priests? It said what? What did it say?
And they will say, how terrible for the great city! She made us all rich from her great wealth, and now in a single hour it is all gone. But you, O heaven, rejoice over her fate, and you also rejoice, O holy people of God and apostles and prophets, for at last...
Apostles and prophets. An apostle is also a prophet. Like Orson Welles said in the movie, the opening scene of the movie, The Late Great Planet Earth, which is a great movie. If you haven't seen the movie, see the movie. It came out in 78, 79. I saw it in the theater. I was always into the scriptures and spiritual things, especially prophetic things. He was speaking about a prophet, and he made a statement. He said, a prophet is not an ordinary man. He's God's man. So the most important man in this thing of ours is the apostles and the prophets.
God has judged her on your behalf.
Then a mighty angel picked up a boulder as large as a great millstone. He threw it into the ocean and shouted,
Great millstone. Y'all hate Great Millstone. Great Millstone gonna put a fucking boulder on your ass. And we didn't even come up with that name. That was like a hashtag. It somehow stuck. That's a spiritual name. We didn't say, oh, let's call ourselves Great Millstone. It stuck. GMS. The mighty GMS.
Babylon, the great city, will be thrown down as violently as I have thrown away this stone, and she will disappear forever. Never again will the sound of music be heard there. No more harps, songs, flutes, or trumpets. There will be no industry of any kind, and no more milling of grain. Her nights will be dark, without a single lamp. There will be no happy voices of brides and grooms. This will happen because her merchants, who were the greatest in the world, deceived the nations with her sorceries. In her streets, the blood of the prophets was spilled. She was the one who slaughtered God's people all over the world.
Chapter 9.
So that bitch gotta pay. And pay she will. In the very near future. The only prophecy that's left, but for the Most High, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua could go ahead and take this place out, deliver us, take this place out, and set up the kingdom, is the MOTB, the mark of the beast. Anybody that's not, you guys out there in the other camps, you better get with the program. You're going to find out that GMS was correct. 100% correct. Anyway, with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. On to the next. Shalom.